They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, and no picture spoke louder this past week than this one. A policeman seemingly standing over a suspected criminal, and instead of arresting him, proceeded to shoot him to death in cold blood, right in the middle of morning rush hour, and captured by a photographer who just happened to be at the right place at the right time. The resulting outcry was as predictable as it was overwhelming. Everyone from civil society to human rights groups and even the British High Commissioner all condemned this blatant daylight execution. But here's where the irony of Kenya kicks in. Less than a week earlier, another scenario was captured by an amateur photographer. A scenario that was as alien in our culture as it was chilling. This time, video of a civilian taking on a policeman, complete in uniform, and in front of a taunting and cheering crowd, proceeded to beat the daylights out of the man in uniform like he was in a school compound. In this case, neither civil society nor human rights groups nor the British High Commissioner, for that matter, stepped in to condemn this blatant act of anarchy. No one, it seems, was ready to come to the defense of the men and women in blue.
I think this kind of sadism has overwhelmed us as citizens, that even when something happens to another person next door, next to you, you watch and talk about it a little later. But the police are people who have been trained and equipped to deal with the public.
Two separate scenarios, two wake-up calls to remind us about how far we have yet to go in our quest to be the nation we want to be. Both of these scenarios should have been resoundingly condemned, but being Kenyans, we took sides, not stopping to ask some all-important questions. Like in the first instance, who were these suspects? What had they done? Had they carjacked a victim, robbed a home, raped the occupants, killed the children? What would prompt the police to kill them in cold blood? And in the second instance, how does a civilian take on a uniformed member of the police with such contempt and in full view of a cheering mob? It begs another question. Where did we go wrong? When did we stop respecting the men and women in uniform? This prompts me to want to take you on a quick trip down memory lane. Remember Patrick Shaw, the somewhat overweight and very scary looking but seemingly fearless policeman who used to gun down gangsters in the streets of Nairobi like he was on a Hollywood film set? And what did we do back then? We cheered him and applauded Patrick Shaw and made him into an urban legend. So why did we hold him in such high esteem then, while condemning our very own homegrown flying squad today?
A rotten society must start asking itself some very fundamental questions, because the rot spreads everywhere. And when the rot spreads everywhere, it cannot support anything good. Rot cannot support anything. In the proper order of time, rot cannot even support itself.
Listen to the words of former police commissioner, retired Major General Mohammed Hussein Ali, when he once appeared on the bench. Retired Major General Mohammed Hussein Ali, when he once appeared on the bench. And now we laugh and we cheer because he's been mentioned in the Ocampo 6 list. And all he was trying to do was his job. But that's another story for another day. The question is, who are we going to turn to when the chips are down? Who do we call when the gangsters carjack us, or when the thugs enter our compounds and raid our homes and violate our families? There's a fine line between law and order and anarchy, and we seem to be dancing on that line, contemplating whether to cross it. Here's a tiny bit of advice for you. Once we cross that line, there will be no coming back. It's as easy as that. This is Jeff Koinange for 3 Sides of a Coin.